By the time Onyombiko died, Ekwefi had become a very bitter woman. Her husband's first wife had already had 3 sons, all strong and healthy. When she had born her 3rd son in succession, Okonkwo had slaughtered a goat for her, as was the custom. Ekwefi had nothing but good wishes for her, but she had grown so bitter about her own chi that she could not rejoice with others over their good fortune. And so, on the day that Nwoye's mother celebrated the birth of her 3 sons with feasting and music, Ekwefi was the only person in the happy company who went about with a cloud on her brow. Her husband's wife took this for malevolence, as husbands' wives were wont to. How could she not know that Ekwefi's bitterness did not flow outwards to others, but inwards into her own soul? That she did not blame others for their good fortune, but her own evil chi who denied her any. At last, Ezima was born, and although ailing, she seemed determined to leave. At first, Ekwefi accepted her as she had accepted others, with listless resignation. But when she lived on to her 4th, 5th, and 6th years, love returned once more to her mother. And with love, anxiety, she determined to nurse her child to health, and she put all her being into it. She was rewarded by occasional spells of health, during which Ezima bubbled with energy like fresh palm wine. At such times, she seemed beyond danger, but all of a sudden, she would go down again. Everybody knew she was an Ogbanje. These sudden bouts of sickness and health were typical of her kind, but she had lived so long that perhaps she had decided to stay. Some of them did become tired of their evil rounds of birth and death, or took pity on their mothers and stayed. Ekwefi believed deep inside her that Ezima had come to stay. She believed because it was that faith alone that gave her own life any kind of meaning. And this faith had been strengthened when a year or so ago, a medicine man had dug up Ezima's Iyuwa. Everyone knew then that she would leave because her bond with the world of Ogbanje had been broken. Ekwefi was reassured, but such was her anxiety for her daughter that she could not rid herself completely of her fear. And although she believed that the Iyuwa which had been dug up was genuine, she could not ignore the fact that some really evil children sometimes misled people into digging up a spacious one. Both Ezima's Iyuwa had looked real enough. It was a smooth pebble wrapped in a dirty rag. The man who dug it up was the same Achebe who was famous in all the clan for his knowledge in these matters. Ezima had not wanted to cooperate with him at first, but that was only to be expected. No Ogbanje would yield her secrets easily, and most of them never did because they died too young before they could be asked questions. Where did you bury your Iyuwa? Achebe had asked Ezima. She was 9 then and was just recovering from a serious illness. Where did you bury your Iyuwa? What is Iyuwa? She asked in return. You know what it is. You buried it in the ground somewhere so that you can die and return again to torment your mother. Ezima looked at her mother, whose eyes, sad and pleading, were fixed on her. Answer the question at once, roared Okonkwo, who stood beside her. All the family were there, and some of the neighbors too. Leave her to me, the medicine man told Okonkwo in a cool, confident voice. He turned again to Ezima. Where did you bury your Iyuwa? Where the buried children, she replied, and the quiet spectators murmured to themselves. Come along then, and show me the spot, said the medicine man. The crowd set out with Ezema leading the way, and Okagwe following closely behind her. Okonkwo came next, and Ekwefi followed. When she came to the main road, Ezema turned left as if she was going to the stream. But you said it was where they buried the children, asked the medicine man. No, said Ezema, whose feeling of importance was manifest in her sprightly walk. She sometimes broke into a run and stopped again suddenly. The crowd followed her silently. Women and children returning from the stream with pots of water on their heads wondered what was happening until they saw Okagwe and guessed that it must be something to do with Obanje. And they all knew Ekwefi and her daughter very well. When she got to the big Odala tree, Ezema turned left into the bush, and the crowd followed her. Because of her size, they made her way through trees. Because of her size, she made her way through trees and creepers more quickly than her followers. The bush was alive with the thread of feet on dry leaves and sticks and the moving aside of tree branches. Ezema went deeper and deeper, and the crowd went with her. Then she suddenly turned around and began to walk back to the road. Everybody stood to let her pass and then filed after her. If you bring us all this way for nothing, I shall beat sense into you, Okonkwo threatened. I have told you to let her alone. I know how to deal with them, said Okagwe. Ezema led the way back to the road, looked left and right, and turned right, and so they arrived home again. Where did you bury your Iyuwa? Asked Okagwe when Ezema finally stopped outside her father's obi. Okagwe's voice was unchanged. It was quiet and confident. It is near that orange tree, Ezema said. And why did you not say so, you wicked daughter of Akalo? And why did you not say so, you wicked daughter of Akalogoli? Okonkwo swore furiously. The medicine man ignored him. Come and show me the exact spot, he said quietly to Ezema. It is here, she said, when they got to the tree. Point at the spot with your finger, said Okagwe. It is here, said Ezema, touching the ground with her finger. Okonkwo stood by, rumbling like thunder in the rainy season. Bring me a hoe, said Okagwe. When Ekwefi brought the hoe, he had already put aside his goatskin bag and his big cloth and was in the underwear. A long and thin strip of cloth wound round his waist like a belt and then pressed between the legs to be fastened to the belt behind. He immediately set to work, digging in a pit where Ezema had indicated. The neighbors sat around watching the pit become deeper and deeper. The dark topsoil soon gave way to the bright red earth with which women scrubbed the floors and ones of their huts. Okagwe walked tirelessly and in silence, his back shining with perspiration. Okonkwo stood by the pit. He asked Okagwe to come up and rest while he took a hand, but Okagwe said he was not tired yet. Ekwefi went into her hut to cook yams. Her husband had brought out more yams than usual because the medicine man had to be fed. Ezema went in with her and helped in preparing the